I never thought sharing a few laughs about my husband's quirks would end with divorce papers on my kitchen table. But here I am, 32 years old, packing boxes while my 7-year-old daughter asks why Daddy won't look at me anymore. My name is Ione Virelle, and I work as an administrative assistant at Riverside Middle School. It's a decent job that pays the bills and gives me summers off with Mira. My husband Darian works in IT consulting, spending most days fixing other people's computer problems from his home office. We've been married 8 years, and until 3 months ago, I thought we were solid. The trouble started with our group chat. Just 5 women from the neighborhood and Jim sharing memes and venting about our husbands. Nothing serious, just harmless girl talk. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. It was a Tuesday night in March when everything began falling apart. I'd just gotten home from drinks with my sister Sabina and a few friends from the chat. Darian was in the living room, laptop closed, staring at the wall with this expression I'd never seen before. "Hey babe," I said, dropping my purse by the door. "You look like someone died. What's wrong?" He turned to look at me and his eyes were different, cold. "We need to talk." I laughed, kicking off my heels. Oh, sounds serious. Did I forget to pay a bill or something? Sit down, Ione." The way he said my name made my stomach flip. I perched on the edge of the couch, suddenly very aware of the wine on my breath. "Darian, you're scaring me. What's going on?" He pulled out his phone and started reading. March 15th, 10:30 p.m. "Girls, you won't believe what happened tonight. Darian tried this new thing he saw online and it was so awkward. I'm dying laughing just thinking about it." My blood turned to ice. That was from our group chat. "How did he—" "March 20th, he continued, his voice steady but his hands shaking slightly. 2:15 a.m. "Darian's snoring is so bad tonight. Plus he does this weird thing where he talks in his sleep about work. Last night he was debugging code in his dreams. I can't even— Darian, I'm not finished." His voice cut through my protest like a blade. March 22nd. TMI alert, but Darian has this habit of checking himself out in the mirror after we— you know. It's like he's admiring his own performance. Men are so weird. Each quote hit me like a physical blow. I remembered typing those messages, giggling to myself as I shared what I thought were harmless observations about my husband's private moments. "How did you get those?" I whispered. "Janet sent them to me." Janet Price, one of our chat members, whose husband worked with Darian occasionally. Apparently, she thought I should know what my wife was saying about our bedroom to strangers. I felt my face burning. They're not strangers, they're my friends. And it was just girl talk, Darian. Everyone does it. Everyone shares intimate details about their husband's body and performance in bed. It wasn't like that. I stood up, pacing now. "You're making it sound worse than it was. These women are my support system. We share everything." "Everything?" He scrolled through his phone again. "Like how I cried watching that documentary about veterans, or how I told you I was worried about losing my hair, or the exact details of what I looked like naked." My throat felt tight. "You're being too sensitive about this." The words hung in the air between us like a slap. Darian's face went completely blank. "Too sensitive," he repeated slowly. "I mean, yes, you are. It's not that serious, Darian. It's just how women talk to each other. We share things. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything." Another repetition, but this time his voice was different, quieter, more dangerous. "Right, it's bonding. It's normal. You wouldn't understand because you don't have close friends like that." The moment those words left my mouth, I knew I'd made a mistake. Darian had always been more reserved, preferring a small circle of trusted friends to my wide social network. I'd just weaponized his introversion against him. He stood up slowly, closing his phone. "You're right, Ione. I don't understand how someone who claims to love me could turn our most private moments into entertainment for a group chat." "That's not what I did." "Then what would you call it?" I scrambled for an explanation that would make sense. I call it processing, working through things with my support network. You bottle everything up, but I need to talk things through. By mocking me? I wasn't mocking you. You described my body to strangers. You made jokes about our sex life. You shared things I told you in confidence when I was vulnerable. His voice was getting louder now, and I could hear Mira's bedroom door creak open upstairs. Keep your voice down, I hissed. And they're not strangers. Janet's been to our house. Tasha and I work out together. These are real friendships. Tasha? Eli's girlfriend, Tasha. Oh no, I'd forgotten that Tasha was dating Eli Torres, the trainer I'd been friendly with at the gym. Not that anything had happened, but there had been some flirting, some late-night texting that was probably inappropriate. What does that have to do with anything? Darian's laugh was bitter. So, you're sharing details about our marriage with the girlfriend of a guy you've been texting at all hours. How do you... I stopped myself. Of course he'd seen the texts. If Janet had shown him the group chat, she'd probably shown him everything. I haven't done anything wrong, I said, but my voice sounded weak even to me. Haven't you? We stared at each other across our living room, and I felt something fundamental shifting between us. The easy intimacy we'd built over 8 years was cracking, and I didn't know how to stop it. Mummy, Mira's small voice came from the stairs. Why are you and Daddy yelling? I forced a smile, my heart breaking at the confusion in my daughter's voice. We're not yelling, sweetheart, just having a grown-up conversation. Go back to bed. Is everything okay? Darian walked over and scooped her up, carrying her back upstairs. I heard him reading her a story, his voice gentle and patient. When he came back down 20 minutes later, I was curled up on the couch with my phone, frantically deleting messages from the group chat. What are you doing? I looked up, caught. Just cleaning up some old messages. Covering your tracks. Protecting my privacy. Your privacy. He sat down across from me, and I noticed he'd changed into pajamas. Somehow that small act of normalcy made everything feel worse. What about my privacy, Ione? What about our privacy? I set my phone aside, trying to look sincere. You're right, I should have thought about that. But it's done now, and I've deleted everything. Can we just move past this? Move past it. Yes, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I shared too much. I won't do it again. You're sorry you shared too much. Stop repeating everything I say. I'm trying to understand what you think you're apologizing for. I threw my hands up in frustration. For sharing private things, for hurting your feelings. What more do you want? I want you to understand that you didn't just hurt my feelings. You betrayed my trust. You took the most vulnerable parts of our relationship and turned them into gossip. It wasn't gossip. What would you call it? I was quiet for a long moment, trying to find words that would fix this. I call it a mistake. A stupid mistake that I regret. Do you? Do you really regret it? Or do you regret getting caught? The question hit too close to home. Because the truth was, I'd enjoyed the attention those messages got. The laughing emojis and OMG same responses from the other women. It had made me feel connected, part of something. I regret hurting you, I said finally. Darian nodded slowly. I'm going to sleep in the guest room tonight. Darian, please. I need space to think. He walked toward the stairs, then paused. Ione, that group chat you're so worried about deleting. Janet already screenshot everything. She said she wanted to make sure I had proof in case I needed it. My phone buzzed as he disappeared upstairs. A message from Janet. Thought you should know, people are talking. The next morning, I woke up alone in our king-sized bed with a headache and a sick feeling in my stomach. Darian had already left for work, and Mira was eating cereal at the kitchen table, swinging her legs and humming. Where's Daddy? She asked when she saw me. He had an early meeting, I lied, pouring myself coffee with shaking hands. My phone had been buzzing all morning. Messages from the group chat, texts from Sabina, missed calls from my mother. I'd turned it to silent, but I could see the notifications piling up. At work, I tried to focus on my administrative tasks, but every time someone walked past my desk, I wondered if they knew. Riverside Middle School was a small community. Parents talked, teachers gossiped. If word got out about what I'd shared. Ione, Principal Martinez appeared at my desk. Could I see you for a moment? My heart hammered as I followed her into her office. Had someone already called the school? Was I about to be fired for bringing personal drama to work? I wanted to check in about Mira, she said, closing the door. Her teacher mentioned she seemed upset yesterday afternoon. Everything okay at home? Relief flooded through me. This wasn't about the group chat. Oh, yes, everything's fine. She might be coming down with something. Of course, just wanted to make sure. You know how we worry about our school families. I nodded and smiled, but as I walked back to my desk, I wondered how long it would be before that conversation went very differently. During my lunch break, I finally checked my messages. The group chat was in chaos. Tasha, so apparently husbands are reading our messages now. Thanks for the heads up, Janet. Janet, I did what I thought was right. Darian deserved to know. Tasha, know what? That his wife talks to her friends. Revolutionary. Sarah Kim. I think we should maybe be more careful about what we share. Janet, or maybe some people should be more careful about what they do. The last message made my blood run cold. Janet wasn't just talking about the group chat anymore. She was implying something else entirely. I called Sabina during my break. Thank God, she answered on the first ring. I've been trying to reach you all morning. What the hell happened last night? Darian found out about the group chat. So, it's just girl talk. That's what I told him, but he's acting like I committed some terrible crime. Men are so dramatic. Remember when Tom found my romance novels and acted like I was cheating on him with fictional characters? I laughed despite myself. Sabina always knew how to put things in perspective. He slept in the guest room last night. He'll get over it, they always do. You just need to let him pout for a few days and then act extra sweet. Maybe cook his favorite dinner. You think? I know. Trust me, I've been married longer than you. Men need to feel like they're in control, so let him think he won this round. Then everything goes back to normal. Her confidence made me feel better. Maybe Darian was just being dramatic. Maybe this would blow over like every other disagreement we'd had. But when I got home that afternoon, I found him sitting at the kitchen table with a stack of printed papers in front of him. What's all that? I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I already knew. Every message you've sent in that group chat for the past 6 months. My mouth went dry. You printed them out? I wanted to see the full picture, to understand exactly what you've been sharing about our family. I sat down across from him, eyeing the papers. And it's worse than I thought. He picked up the top sheet. February 3rd, you told them about my anxiety medication. I was asking for advice. February 15th, you shared a photo of me sleeping and made jokes about my bedhead. It was cute. February 28th, you told them I cried during Mira's school play. Each item on his list felt like a small betrayal, but taken together, they painted a picture I didn't want to see. Had I really shared that much? You're taking everything out of context, I said. These were conversations between friends. Private conversations. Private? He laughed bitterly. Ione, there are 5 women in that chat. 5 women who now know intimate details about my body, my emotions, my vulnerabilities. How is that private? Because they're my friends. They're not going to tell anyone. Like Janet didn't tell anyone. I didn't have an answer for that. And what about this? He slid another paper across the table. It was a screenshot of messages between me and Eli Torres. Me. Thanks for the workout tips today. You're an amazing trainer. Eli. Anytime, beautiful. You're my favorite student. Me. Stop, you're going to make me blush. Eli. I like it when you blush. Reading it now, with Darian watching my face, the innocent flirtation looked like something much worse. It's not what it looks like, I said quickly. What does it look like? Like, like I was flirting. But I wasn't, not really. It's just how Eli talks to everyone. Does he call everyone beautiful? I don't know, maybe. And do you tell everyone they make you blush? I was quiet, staring at the messages. Had I been flirting? It had felt harmless at the time, just friendly banter with an attractive trainer. But seeing it printed out, imagining how it looked to my husband. Nothing happened, I said finally. Nothing physical, nothing real. It was just texting. Just texting, like the group chat was just girl talk. It was. Ione, you told 5 women that I have a birthmark on my hip. You described the sounds I make when I'm asleep. You shared details about our sex life that I never consented to sharing. I didn't think. No, you didn't think. You didn't think about how it would feel for me to know that strangers are picturing me naked because of what you told them. You didn't think about how humiliating it is to know that people are laughing at my private moments. His voice was getting louder again, and I could see tears in his eyes. Real tears. This wasn't just anger anymore. This was pain. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm really, truly sorry. Are you? Or are you sorry you got caught? I'm sorry I hurt you. But you're not sorry you did it. The accusation hung between us. Was he right? Was I only sorry about the consequences, not the actions themselves? I don't know how to answer that, I admitted. That's an answer in itself. We sat in silence for several minutes. Outside, I could hear kids playing in the street, normal sounds of a normal Tuesday evening. Inside our kitchen, everything felt broken. What do you want from me? I asked finally. I want you to understand what you did. I shared too much with my friends. I get it. Do you? Do you really get it? I thought about it, trying to see it from his perspective. You feel exposed? I feel betrayed by the person I trust most in the world. The words hit me like a physical blow. Darian, I told you things I've never told anyone else. I was vulnerable with you in ways I've never been vulnerable with another human being, and you turned that into entertainment. It wasn't entertainment. Then what was it? I struggled for an answer. It was connection with my friends, sharing experiences, at my expense. I didn't mean it that way, but that's how it happened. My phone buzzed on the table between us, a notification from the group chat. Without thinking, I reached for it, but Darian's hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. Don't. It's just, don't. Whatever they're saying right now, whatever support they're offering you, whatever excuses they're making for your behavior, don't. Not right now. I pulled my hand back, leaving the phone on the table. The notification light blinked accusingly. What happens now? I asked. I don't know. Are you going to leave me? I don't know. Are you going to sleep in the guest room again? Yes. The simple certainty of that answer hurt worse than anything else he'd said. He wasn't even considering forgiveness yet. He was still in the information gathering phase, still trying to understand the full scope of what I'd done. For how long? I don't know. Darian, please, talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking. He looked at me for a long moment, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Distance, like he was looking at a stranger. I'm thinking that I don't know who you are anymore. By Friday, I knew the story had spread beyond our group chat. I could feel it in the way conversation stopped when I walked into the teacher's lounge, in the careful way parents spoke to me during pickup, in the pitying looks from neighbors. Tasha had made sure everyone at the gym knew about the drama between Darian and me. She'd positioned herself as Eli's protector, spreading the story that I'd been inappropriately pursuing her boyfriend and using my marriage problems as an excuse. Ione? Eli cornered me by the water fountain after my Thursday workout. We need to talk. I followed him to a quiet corner near the stretching mats, my heart pounding. Maybe he was going to defend me, tell people that our friendship had been innocent. Look, he said, not meeting my eyes. I think it's better if we keep our distance for a while. What? Why? Tasha's upset about the texts. And your husband. This whole situation is just too much drama for me. Drama? I stared at him. Eli, we're friends. We didn't do anything wrong. Maybe not, but it doesn't look good, and I can't have people thinking I'm involved in breaking up a marriage. You're not involved in anything. That's why I need to step back. I'm sorry, Ione. I hope you and your husband work things out. He walked away, leaving me standing alone by the stretching mats. Around me, I could feel people watching, whispering. The friendly trainer who'd made me feel special, who'd boosted my confidence with his flirty texts, was cutting me loose at the first sign of trouble. When I got home, I found Darian in the kitchen with his laptop open and a legal pad covered in notes. What's all this? I asked. Research. Research into what? Divorce law, custody arrangements, asset division. The words hit me like ice water. You're researching divorce? I'm researching my options. Darian, please, can we talk about this? Can we try counseling or something? I don't think you understand the situation you're in. What situation? He turned his laptop screen toward me. It showed a Facebook page I didn't recognize, with a post that made my blood freeze. Riverside drama alert. Local wife caught sharing intimate details about husband in group chat. Apparently also texting inappropriately with gym trainer. Husband found out and now everyone's talking. Some people have no shame. The post had 37 likes and dozens of comments. I recognized names from Mira's school, from our neighborhood, from my work. Who posted this? I whispered. Does it matter? It's out there now. I scrolled through the comments, each one making me feel sicker. I always thought she was a little too friendly with everyone's husbands. Poor Darian. He's such a nice guy. What about their daughter? This is so embarrassing for that family. I heard she was practically stalking that trainer. This isn't fair, I said. They're making it sound like I had an affair. Didn't you? No, I texted with Eli, but nothing happened. Emotional affairs are still affairs, Ione. It wasn't an affair. It was just friendship. Friendship where you told him things you didn't tell me, where you shared feelings you hid from your husband. I thought about my conversations with Eli. Had I told him about my marriage problems? Had I complained about Darian being distant or boring? Had I sought emotional support from another man while keeping my husband in the dark about my feelings? Maybe, I admitted quietly. Maybe. But it didn't mean anything. It meant something to me. My phone rang. Sabina. Don't answer it, Darian said. Why not? Because every conversation you have right now is making things worse. Every person you talk to is getting more ammunition to use against you. Sabina's my sister. She's on my side. Is she? The question made me pause. Sabina had been supportive earlier in the week, but as the story spread and got uglier, her texts had become shorter, less frequent. I answered the call. Ione, thank God. I've been getting calls all day. Calls about what? About you. Mum's heard the story. Aunt Linda called her. People are saying you were cheating with some trainer. I wasn't cheating. I know that, but the story's gotten all twisted. Mum wants you to call her. I looked at Darian, who was watching me with that same distant expression. I can't deal with Mum right now. You have to. She's talking about coming over there to help with the situation. You know how she gets. Our mother, Vivian Harper, was a force of nature who believed every problem could be solved with the right combination of determination and social pressure. The last thing I needed was her descending on our house to manage my marriage crisis. Tell her I'll call her tomorrow. Ione, you need to get ahead of this story. People are saying terrible things. Like what? Like you were using the group chat to share details about Darian so you could embarrass him. Like you were trying to make him look bad to justify cheating. That's not what happened. I know, but that's what people are saying. and some of the women from the chat are distancing themselves from the whole thing. Which women? Sarah deleted all her messages and left the chat. Janet's telling people she tried to warn you to stop sharing so much personal stuff. I felt like the ground was shifting under my feet. Janet's lying. She never warned me about anything. Maybe not, but that's her story now. After I hung up, Darian closed his laptop and looked at me seriously. Ione, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Okay. Did you share details about me in that group chat because you were angry at me? Were you trying to humiliate me? No, God, no, I would never. Then why? Help me understand why you thought it was okay to tell strangers about my body, my fears, my private moments with you. I sat down across from him, trying to find words for feelings I'd never examined too closely. I guess it made me feel important, like I had interesting stories to share. Interesting stories? Not like that, just the other women were always talking about their husbands and their relationships, and I wanted to be part of the conversation. So you used me as conversation material? I used our life as conversation material. I thought it was normal. Did you ever ask yourself how I would feel about it? The honest answer was no. I'd never considered Darian's feelings at all. The group chat had felt separate from our marriage, like a private space where I could say anything without consequences. No, I admitted, I didn't think about your feelings. Why not? Because I didn't think you'd find out. The admission hung in the air between us. Darian nodded slowly, like I'd confirmed something he'd suspected. So you knew it was wrong. I knew you wouldn't like it. But you did it anyway. Yes. For months. Yes. And you would have kept doing it if Janet hadn't told me. I thought about lying, but what was the point now? Probably. He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at our backyard, where Mira's swing set sat empty in the fading light. I keep trying to understand how the woman I married, the woman I trusted with everything, could do this to me. Darian, I told you things I've never told anyone. About my childhood, about my insecurities, about my body. I trusted you with parts of myself I've never shown another human being. His voice was quiet, but I could hear the pain underneath it. And you took those things, and you shared them for entertainment. You turned my vulnerabilities into jokes for strangers. They're not strangers. They are to me. He turned around, and I saw tears on his face. They're complete strangers to me, and now they know things about me that my own mother doesn't know. I wanted to go to him, to hold him, to somehow take back everything I'd shared, but the distance between us felt unbridgeable. I'm sorry, I whispered. I know you are. But sorry doesn't undo what you did. Sorry doesn't make those women forget what they know about me. Sorry doesn't give me back my privacy or my dignity. What can I do? I don't think there's anything you can do. There has to be something. Is there? Can you go back in time and not betray my trust? Can you erase those messages from their phones? Can you make our neighbors stop gossiping about our private life? Each question was like a knife twist, because the answer to all of them was no. I love you, I said desperately. I know you do. But love isn't enough to fix this. It has to be. Why? Because you want it to be? I didn't have an answer for that. That night, I lay alone in our bed, listening to Darian move around in the guest room. Every creak of the floorboard felt like another step away from me, another moment of our marriage dissolving. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Thought you should see this. It was a link to another Facebook post, this one with a photo of me and Eli at the gym, taken from a distance. We were standing close together, laughing at something he'd said. To anyone looking at the photo, we looked like a couple. The caption read, "While her husband was home with their kid, she was at the gym with her trainer. Some people have no shame." I stared at the photo, remembering that day. I'd been complaining to Eli about Darian working late again, and he'd made some joke about workaholic husbands. We'd laughed together, and for a moment, I'd felt seen and appreciated in a way I hadn't felt at home. Now, looking at the photo, I could see how it looked to everyone else, how it looked to my husband. I'd destroyed my marriage for a few moments of feeling special, and the worst part was, I was only just beginning to understand how much I'd lost. The next week brought a new level of humiliation I hadn't thought possible. On Tuesday, I was called into Principal Martinez's office again, but this time it wasn't about Mira's behavior. Ione, I need to address some concerns that have been brought to my attention. My stomach dropped. What kind of concerns? Several parents have contacted the district about your personal situation. They're questioning whether it's appropriate for you to have access to their children's information and to be working in a school environment. My personal situation has nothing to do with my job performance. I agree, and I've told them that, but the district is asking me to document this conversation. They want to ensure that your personal life isn't affecting your professional responsibilities. I sat there, stunned. Are you firing me? No, but I am advising you to keep a low profile for a while. Let this blow over. When I got home that afternoon, I found Darian's mother, Miriam, sitting at our kitchen table with Mira, helping her with homework. Hello, Ione, she said coolly. Miriam, I didn't know you were coming over. Darian asked me to pick up Mira from school today. He had a client meeting. But I could see the real reason in her eyes. She didn't trust me to take care of my own daughter right now. Grandma's helping me with my math, Mira said brightly, oblivious to the tension. That's nice, sweetheart. Why don't you go play in your room for a few minutes? Grandma and I need to talk. After Mira left, Miriam fixed me with a stare that could have frozen hell. I've known you for 8 years, Ione. I thought I knew what kind of person you were. Miriam, that boy has loved you since the day he met you. He's given you everything. A home, a family, his complete trust. And this is how you repay him? It's not what everyone's saying. Isn't it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you humiliated my son for months, shared his private business with strangers, and carried on with another man. I didn't carry on with anyone. Emotional infidelity is still infidelity, dear. The way she said dear made it sound like a curse word. I made mistakes, I know that, but I love Darian, and I love our family. Do you, because your actions suggest otherwise? I was just trying to connect with other women. I felt lonely. Lonely? You have a husband who adores you, a beautiful daughter, a comfortable life. What exactly were you lonely for? I struggled to explain feelings I barely understood myself. Attention, I guess. Validation. So you got it by betraying your husband's trust. I didn't mean to betray anyone. Intent doesn't matter, Ione. Impact does. And the impact is that you've destroyed your marriage and humiliated your family. She stood up, gathering her purse. I'll be taking Mira to my house for the weekend. Darian thinks she needs some stability while you two figure things out. You can't just take my daughter. Darian asked me to, and frankly, given the chaos you've created, I think it's best for Mira to be somewhere calm. After she left with Mira, I called Sabina in tears. They're turning everyone against me, I sobbed. Who's turning everyone against you? Darian's family, the school, everyone. They're acting like I committed some horrible crime. Ione, Sabina's voice was careful. Maybe you should consider that you did do something horrible. Not you too. I'm on your side. I always will be. But I've been thinking about this all week, and if Tom had shared details about our private life with a group of women, I'd be devastated. It's different when women do it. We share things. Do we? Do we really share intimate details about our husbands' bodies? About their vulnerabilities? About their performance in bed? I was quiet, thinking about the group chats I'd been in over the years. Had other women shared as much as I had? Or had I crossed lines I hadn't even realized existed? I don't know, I admitted. I think you do know. I think you knew it was wrong, but you did it anyway because it made you feel important. The accusation stung because it was true. The group chat had made me feel like I had the most interesting stories, the most dramatic marriage, the most attention-worthy life. So, what am I supposed to do now? Just accept that my marriage is over? Maybe. Or maybe you figure out how to actually make amends instead of just defending yourself. I've apologized. Have you? Or have you just said you're sorry while explaining why what you did wasn't really that bad? I thought about my conversations with Darian over the past week. Had I actually taken responsibility, or had I spent most of the time minimizing my actions and making excuses? I don't know how to fix this. Maybe you can't. Maybe some things can't be fixed. That night, alone in our house for the first time in years, I sat in Mira's empty bedroom and tried to understand how I'd gotten here. 6 months ago, I'd been happy. My marriage had its problems. Darian worked too much. We didn't talk as deeply as we used to. Our sex life had become routine. But I'd thought we were solid. When had I started sharing details about our private life? I scrolled back through old group chat messages, looking for the first time I'd crossed the line. There it was, October 15th. I'd shared a photo of Darian sleeping on the couch with his mouth open, captioned, "My sexy husband, ladies." The other women had responded with laughing emojis and their own photos of their husbands in unflattering moments. It had felt harmless, fun, like bonding with girlfriends. But as I scrolled forward through months of messages, I could see the escalation. The details getting more intimate, the jokes getting meaner, the violations of privacy getting more severe. By March, I was sharing things that should never have left our bedroom. Things Darian had told me in confidence. Things about his body, his fears, his vulnerabilities. And I'd done it all for likes and laughing emojis. For the momentary high of being the center of attention in a group chat. My phone buzzed. A message from Janet. "We need to talk." I called her immediately. "Ione, I think you should know that Darian's lawyer contacted me today." "His lawyer?" "He's building a case for divorce, for custody. He wanted copies of all the group chat messages. Did you give them to him?" "I had to. He had a legal request." "Janet, you're supposed to be my friend." "I am your friend. That's why I'm warning you. This is serious, Ione. He's not just threatening divorce. He's building a case that you're an unfit mother." "Unfit? Because of some group chat messages?" "Because you violated his privacy, carried on an emotional affair, and exposed your family to public humiliation. And because when confronted with all of this, you've refused to take real responsibility." "I have taken responsibility." "Have you? Because from where I'm sitting, you've spent the last week explaining why what you did wasn't really that bad instead of acknowledging the real harm you caused." I hung up on her, but her words echoed in my head. Was that really how I'd been responding? Had I been minimizing and defending instead of truly apologizing? When Darian came home that night, I was waiting for him in the living room. "We need to talk," I said. "I'm tired, Ione. Please, just give me 5 minutes." He sat down across from me, and I could see how exhausted he looked. There were dark circles under his eyes, and he'd lost weight over the past week. "I talked to Janet today. She said you have a lawyer now." "Yes. Are you really going to divorce me?" "I don't know yet." "What would it take for you to not divorce me?" He was quiet for a long time, looking at his hands. "I don't think there's anything, Ione. I don't think I can ever trust you again." "But what if you what? Promise never to do it again? Promise to be a better wife? Promise to think about my feelings next time?" "Yes. But you already made those promises when we got married. You already committed to forsaking all others, to honoring and cherishing me. And you broke those promises." "I didn't forsake you for another man." "Didn't you? You shared intimate details of our marriage with strangers. You sought emotional support from another man instead of talking to me about our problems. You prioritized your relationships with other people over your relationship with me." Each accusation hit home because they were all true. I can change, I whispered. Can you? Because this wasn't one mistake, Ione. This was months of choices, hundreds of individual decisions to betray my trust. I didn't think of it that way. I know, and that's the problem. You didn't think of me at all. We sat in silence for several minutes. Outside, I could hear our neighbors coming home from work, living their normal lives while ours fell apart. What about Mira? I asked finally. What about her? She needs both her parents. She needs parents who respect each other, parents who model healthy relationships. What kind of example are we setting for her right now? We could go to counseling. We could work on it. I can't work on it with someone who doesn't understand what they did wrong. I do understand. Do you? Then explain it to me. Tell me what you did wrong. I took a deep breath, trying to find the words that would show him I really got it. I shared private things about you without your permission. I violated your trust. I made you feel humiliated and exposed. And I carried on an inappropriate relationship with Eli. And I struggled to think of what else he wanted me to say. And I hurt you deeply. You're still missing the point. Then tell me what the point is. The point is that you took the most intimate parts of our relationship, the parts that were supposed to be sacred between us, and you turned them into entertainment for other people. You commodified our marriage for social attention. The word commodified hit me like a slap. Is that what I'd done? Turned our private life into social currency. And when I confronted you about it, he continued, your first instinct wasn't to apologize. It was to defend yourself, to minimize what you'd done, to tell me I was being too sensitive. I remembered that first conversation, how I'd laughed off his pain and told him he was overreacting. I was wrong to say that. You were wrong to think it. The fact that those words even occurred to you tells me everything I need to know about how you view our relationship. What do you mean? I mean you see my feelings as inconvenient obstacles to your social life, my privacy as something you can sacrifice for your entertainment, my trust as something you can take for granted. Each word felt like a physical blow because they were all accurate. I don't want to see you that way, I said desperately, but you do, and I don't think that's something you can just decide to change. So that's it. You've already made up your mind. I've made up my mind that I can't continue in a marriage where I'm not safe, where my vulnerabilities will be shared with strangers for laughs, where my trust will be betrayed whenever it's convenient for you. I would never do it again. How can I believe that when you don't even understand why you did it the first time? I opened my mouth to argue, but realized he was right. I still didn't fully understand why I'd shared so much, why I'd prioritized the group chat over his privacy, why I'd sought attention from Eli instead of working on my marriage. Help me understand, I said quietly. That's not my job anymore, Ione. My job now is to protect myself and our daughter from further damage. Further damage? Do you know what Mira asked me yesterday? She asked if Mommy and Daddy were getting divorced because all her friends at school are talking about it. The words hit me like ice water. What did you tell her? I told her that Mommy and Daddy are having some problems, but that we both love her very much. And she asked if the problems were because Mommy told secrets about Daddy to other people. I felt like I was going to be sick. She knows. Kids hear everything, Ione. Her friends' parents are talking about it. Her teachers know about it. She's living in the middle of the mess you created. I never meant for her to be affected by this. But she is affected. And that's another consequence you didn't think about when you were sharing our private business with the world. I sat there, finally understanding the full scope of what I'd done. It wasn't just about Darian's hurt feelings or my damaged reputation. I'd dragged our 7-year-old daughter into a public humiliation that would follow our family for years. I'm so sorry, I whispered. I know you are. But sorry doesn't protect Mira from the gossip at school. Sorry doesn't give me back my dignity. Sorry doesn't rebuild the trust you destroyed. So what happens now? Now I do whatever I have to do to protect my daughter and myself from any more damage, even if that means destroying our family. You already destroyed our family, Ione. I'm just trying to salvage what's left.